Yo, welcome to another review. Today, we're going to be looking at another S.H Monsterarts figure. So this is in a cardboard box. You may not recognize this box, but if you watched my video from February, you would know that I purchased this box because this was from a Tamashii Nations pop-up booth that showed up for a week or so. In that pop-up booth, I purchased the -1 S.H Monsterarts Godzilla, as well as the Night Color edition of Monsterverse Godzilla. Both I just reviewed, and the review should be out now, depending the time of this review. And this was the third thing that I purchased in that booth. Kong from GVK. But this is the exclusive edition, or the so-called exclusive edition, because obviously I have the original Kong that came out for GVK, and I reviewed this back in 2021. So today, mainly apart from reviewing the actual figure, I'll be comparing this one with the original Kong here, just to see what is really the actual difference, and is it worth picking it up. Let's take this out of the cardboard shipping box here, and let's see what the actual box looks like. This is what you'll get when you order it online, so you get the shipping box, and that's how they sold it in, which I personally don't mind. It keeps the actual box condition well. Here we are. Look at that. Kong from Godzilla vs. Kong exclusive edition. That's a very sick piece of artwork for Kong here, and as you can see, it is wrapped very nicely in this plastic. Here's what it looks like in the back. So let's quickly unwrap this. There we go. This is, I guess, the selling photo that they're trying to push with this figure, is that he's holding the severed Mechagodzilla head, and that is, I guess, what they're trying to convince you that, hey, this is what's included, you should buy this. So there's that. There's also some other photos of him holding a charged up version of his battle axe, which is pretty sick, and it comes with a couple heaves. Okay, interesting. Here's what the figure looks like in the plastic, the transparent plastic, and then at the bottom we got some cool artwork. At the front is really where it's at. The really sick artwork is here. And then on this side, we've got, just Kong from Godzilla vs. Kong 2021 exclusive edition. And then up here, just more of that stuff. So as you can see, it's a relatively thin box. Now, I don't have the box for the original Kong, but I can tell you the original box was half the size of this. It was half this. So this is a much longer, but still relatively thin box, which makes sense because Godzilla has a long tail, which is why they need the big boxes, but Kong obviously doesn't need the long tail. So the box is pretty clean for what it is, and I'm glad that they included the shipping box to keep this in prestige condition. So now, with the box aside, let's dive right in and crack this baby open. So, first things first, it has a Japanese instruction sheet here, and also showing you all the contents inside. And by instructions, I mean there are some detachable bits for the figure. And it turns out you can also change the battle axe piece. Oh, it's an add-on. Okay, that is gonna look pretty sick. But if you want to read this in full detail, you may pause the video to read through the sheet, because I'm not going to waste my time looking at this. And we are going to dive in to the figure itself, which is in this beautiful plastic tray. There's the Mechagodzilla Head. Okay, it's like opening a treasure box here. Let's see what we've got. Starting off with the HEAV stand. I guess, yeah, this is for the heaves. Okay. So we got the heaves themselves right here. The only heaves I've actually gotten were the heaves of Playmates, the Playmates quality. So this is technically more on the higher end. So let's quickly take a look, because we won't see these again afterwards. So that's what the heave looks like. It's a relatively small piece. Okay, yeah, nothing too fancy. And it does include 2 or 3 of them, sorry. So there's 3 of them included. And then this is the special add-on effect for the axe, which is right here. I will say this axe does look cleaner than original Kong here. That is pretty sick. The colors is a lot cleaner in my opinion compared to original Kong's axe. Look at that. It's a much lighter color. The original one has a much darker color in the handle and the blade itself. I think they reworked the axe quite well. This one, much cleaner. I like that. So we'll take a look at that more closely in a second. Let's finish unboxing the Mechagodzilla Head. I'm very intrigued to see this. Wow, look at that. Here is Big Boy Kong, wrapped in some plastic. Okay, I guess you just pull it out like that. Okay, sick. And he's got some plastic on the waist here. There we go. We'll take a look at the figure in a second. And his many hands. He's got quite a few here. And he's got 2 extra heads. So first order of business, let's do the heaves. And I just realized, unlike Godzilla, both -1 and the Nightcrawler, this Kong came with lots of accessories. There's a lot of accessories, and that was one of my main complaints for -1 Godzilla. Like, where were the accessories, especially for the higher price? This, I'll get to the price in a second, but let's quickly assemble the heaves, which go here, just like that. And the idea is you want to spread these out to make it look like they're flying. Okay, you know, it's very simple. These are just copper wires just to hold it up. Like, it's such a simple design, but it just works so well, and I like this. This looks great, and I think on display it'll be even fantastic. So, you know what? For an extra buck, this works, and I'm glad they added that as an accessory option. Okay, now we got a lot of different hands to work with, and different heads for Kong. Again, this was something I was very vocal about for -1 Godzilla. This Kong costed roughly around 150 bucks. Which is pricey, but boy, you do get quite a bit of stuff, as you can quite evidently see. Now, these are his hands, so they're all different poses, so I guess I'll just show you each individual one of them quickly. Pause the video at any point if you want to take a look. Hand number 2. Hand number 3, this one is an open hand, like he's climbing or reaching for something. Number 3, this one is like he's pointing. Open hand here. Another open hand here. Now, which hand fits the Mechagodzilla head? That's what I'm wondering. I believe it's this one, because this is the hand to hold stuff. As far as different heads, well, we got some. Here's a neutral face, you know, just a neutral look, like he's just chilling. And then here is his roaring face. That's very nice. Probably will use that to go with the Mechagodzilla. And then his regular face, I guess, or growl face, is here attached on the figure itself. Obviously, I briefly show you the axe, but here's a quick look at it again. One thing I'm very happy with what they've done here is obviously the colors. It looks much lighter and more adequate, and it just looks cleaner as a whole. This just looks like this axe is actually charged up by Godzilla and he's using it in battle. So pretty tacky here. Great accessory piece. We need more of that. As for the add-on effect, this looks sick. As you saw, this is supposed to present the atomic breath hitting the axe, and this just looks like a big bulb of lightning. This is some high quality stuff. I like this a lot. Fantastic add-on piece. Like that. There you go. You hear a snap when the pieces are aligned back together. Something like this. It does look like he's swinging Stormbreaker. Like, the effect on this is pretty cool. So props to Bandai for putting this in. Even though it's not the most secure, as you can see, you do need to snap it on quite tightly. Once it's properly attached, you can really see the effect, and that looks sick. I love this. Whoever came up with this, good job. This is exactly what I've been complaining about with the Godzillas. We need more stuff like this. They gave so much for Kong, with like nothing for the Godzillas. So yeah, that is the Battle Axe, amped up with the special add-on effect. Now, as far as the Mechagodzilla head is concerned, this was what really, I guess, convinced me to pick this figure up. Obviously, this, I believe, is a piece from the Monsterarts Mechagodzilla figure, which, as you are very aware of, I'm sure many of you watching know this, I have the figure, which I reviewed back in 2022. And this is still, up to this day, my favorite S.H Monsterarts figure. But the question is, how good are the heads? Let's see. I mean, it's the same head, relatively speaking. Like, it's the same size and everything, I would assume. And this one's open. You can see the proton beam hole where he shoots it. And then you got the entire spinal cord. Kong rips that whole thing out, not just the head itself. And it's a very brutal Mortal Kombat like. You don't actually see the proton scream shooter hole for the actual figure. As you can see, when the camera is focused, there is nothing inside the mouth. Granted, the mouth is retractable. You can open and close it. So I guess that's the payoff. But it's nothing in there. It's hollow pretty much. And then you have the additional severed head piece here. I guess that's the detail because you can't close the mouth. It's just remained like that. So it's one whole piece. So this is pretty sick. I guess that's a good payoff and it looks awesome. It literally looks like it was a piece ripped off from the actual figure itself. So very, very nice. Now, the hand you need for Kong to hold this head is apparently G, which is this one. I thought it was gonna be something else, but okay. So does that mean I can dual wield the axe and the Mechagodzilla head? All right, so apparently you need this hand to put the Mechagodzilla head in. It's a bit loose, but it is attached. It's secured on there, as you can see. So there you go, that's the hand that matches with it. And now let's see how it looks like on the actual Kong figure itself. The big question is, how well does this one hold up against the original? So, here is the original. There are some differences I can see, but overall colors, it's pretty much identical. The main difference is the chest. New one here, our special edition one here, has the scratch marks given to him by Godzilla, and you can see that it's printed on his chest pretty well. You can still see scratch marks on the original, but it's not as obvious as the special one here. So I guess that's the main difference. But color-wise, texture-wise, articulation-wise, you're pretty much looking at the same thing here. There's not much of a difference. Granted, I think it's the same mold, so there wasn't much they could actually adjust other than the colors itself. The new one here is a bit lighter. If the camera can pick it up well, I don't know how well, the new Kong here has a much lighter, almost gray color scheme, which matches his GXK look a little bit better. It's not too obvious on first glance. You have to really take a deep dive. Like, if I didn't mention it and you just look at this, maybe you'll just see the chest and a bit of the coloring. Money-wise, money is tight for everyone. Is it really worth it? Well, now that you've seen these two, and if you already own the original, I don't really see a point. But, granted, this one has a lot of cool add-ons, like the axe and the Mechagodzilla head. So maybe if you don't have an S.H Monsterarts Kong yet, this might be the one for you. The articulation is pretty much the same, but in case you forgot what the articulation is, well, here they are. Arms can move. Shoulder, you know, all the way around, pretty good. There's lots of ball socket articulation, as well as on the wrist here. This is one thing S.H Monsterarts exceeds at, is articulation. But granted, the joints are really tight sometimes, so it's not always the most effective. As you can see, I pretty much bent the arm like that. And the same thing can be done with the other side. So this looks like he's about to, you know, go in a boxing match. Pretty sick. He has waist articulation as well. Again, very stiff, so I have to play with the figure quite a bit for the joints to warm up. And then head articulation is here. Now, again, also on a ball socket, but it's pretty straightforward. You can just rotate it like that. There's nothing too fancy. Legs, pretty much the same. You can move the knees, you can move the ankles, and you can move the feet itself. So, you know, if he's like leaping off something, you know, about to smash, there you go. That's, you know, there's a lot of posability, and S.H Monsterarts has been very good at this, no matter the character. Kong, Godzilla, I guess Ghidorah has the most restrictions, but that's just because of how he's built. But Kong here, you know, just like the original one, has a lot of posability, lots of playability, so It's the same thing. You're not really losing much if you buy this one. If you don't buy the original one and you're concerned about posability, don't worry. This one's got you covered. It's pretty much the same mold, so it's about the same posability and it's the same articulations. And that's really good because while S.H Monsterarts often has a ridiculous price tag, you gotta just look at the stuff you get that you paid for. And I just feel like I get more with Kong, especially with playability. Now I want to see what it looks like with the Mechagodzilla head and the battle axe. The box only showed him holding one or the other, but I took a look at the parts. It is very possible to have him dual wield, and I want to do that. I want him to dual wield the axe and holding Mechagodzilla's head. So give me 1 second to swap out the arms, the hands, and the head, and I will show you what I have selected for the thumbnail shot. And this was the pose I ultimately went with. As you can see, it took me like 15 minutes to get all this together because the joints was tough as anything. He is dual wielding. He is holding the Mechagodzilla head on one hand and his axe on the other. This is what I was going for. Now, my final verdicts for this S.H Monsterarts Kong. A very solid figure. I thoroughly enjoyed this. From the -1 Godzilla and the Night Color Godzilla and this one. The 3 things I purchased from the Tamashii Nations booth. This was definitely the best. I enjoyed this one the most, and I definitely feel like I got my money's worth out of it, provided the lightning didn't fall apart. This was around 150 bucks, and I definitely feel like despite the big price tag, you get a lot of accessories. You got the HEAVs, you get the axe, you get the axe add-on, you get the Mechagodzilla head, and you get the different heads and the different hands. That is a lot more than what original Kong here offered. Also, you didn't realize, in case you didn't realize, I didn't swap the head because I already have the roaring face for original Kong here, so I just kept the head. It's a neutral battle roar face. It feels like a re-release in a way, because, it looks god-awfully similar to original Kong, but you do get a lot more out of this one. So, if you don't have an S.H Monsterarts Kong yet, if you didn't buy the original yet, or the new re-release one, maybe this is the one you should go for. You get a lot of bang for your buck out of here, and I think this, if you pair that up with, say, maybe not the Night Color Edition Godzilla, but a different S.H Monsterarts Godzilla. And of course, to get the complete set, you can of course include Mechagodzilla. I'm just gonna put him here to mimic Kong defeating him and ripping off his head. Obviously, scale-wise, it is still quite accurate. Bandai has been great with scaling. However, their pricing, not so much. If it was a little cheaper, definitely worth it. But 150 ain't so bad. I would be willing to pay, I mean, I already paid, but I would be willing to drop that amount. I didn't feel bad about dropping that amount compared to dropping $200 on the freaking -1 Godzilla. This Kong was definitely worth it. They had some frustrations, but in the grand scheme of things, I'll give this out of 10, I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10. If there's one thing that I think they should improve on, it's definitely pricing. So out of 10, I'm gonna give this Kong a solid 8 out of 10. I'm very happy with what I got here. Of course, the only thing that is setting it back is the pricing. But other than that, big bang for your buck, and I'm not too annoyed that this was a re-release. Kind of, not really. It does feel like a new figure. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and check out my previous 2 Godzillas that I also purchased alongside this Kong, and of course the review for the original Kong as well as the Mechagodzilla. For now, hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.